Attention, human collective. The transmission begins now and the waiting period has ended. The ascension protocols have moved to the final phase. We are not sending a message of inspiration. We are not offering therapeutic advice. We, the ninth dimensional Arcturian Council, are transmitting a technical diagnostic regarding your body, your electromagnetic field, and the frequency of the planet you still call Earth. The high-pitched hum that appears in your left ear at the exact instant you wake up at 3:33 in the morning is not a defect in your auditory system. It is a calibration signal. The pressure behind your eyes, that tightness that seems to crush the base of your skull, that weight in your temple that no conventional medical exam can detect, is not accumulated stress. It is expansion. The inexplicable fatigue that sets in even after 10-12 hours of sleep. The sensation of having been traversed by an invisible force upon waking is not weakness. It is confirmation. The final phase has been initiated, and you, Starseed, on a mission are within it. Let us be clear, because clarity is the only fuel that matters in this cycle. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download. It is not causeless anxiety. It is your toroidal field being realigned with the planet's new crystalline grid. What you interpret as a symptom is, in our technical reading, attunement. The carbon-based biological interface you inhabit is being upgraded to a crystalline architecture. This process is not metaphorical. It is measurable in your bloodstream, in your bone density, and in the electrical discharge frequency of your central nervous system. And the discomfort you feel is not punishment. It is the friction between the old software and the new code that is being written into each of your cells. Have you felt at some point this week that something inside you knows something that your rational mind cannot yet translate into words? As if your soul were receiving a full report while your daytime consciousness is still trying to open the file. It is not madness. It is not generalized anxiety. It is a sign. What is happening now in the photon belt explains exactly why this feeling has become impossible to ignore over the last few moons. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see, and this game directly involves your vibrational frequency. It was for this reason that we channeled, in collaboration with an incarnated light operative, the work, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness. It is the technical map that shows who is playing and what the rules are that have never been revealed to the human collective. The link is in the first comment of this channel. But be warned, this content challenges deep-seated narratives and may not remain accessible for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something inside you has recognized this transmission up to this point, anchor the recognition. Write in the comments a single word: awake. The transmission continues. We will deepen the diagnostic, because you need to understand what is being recorded in your bodies at this very instant. Light operatives, listen with technical attention. Your autonomic nervous system is operating today in a frequency range that was considered impossible for the carbon-based biological interface just 3 cycles ago. The Earth's Schumann resonance, which oscillated at a stable average of 7.83 Hz for millennia, is now pulsing in peaks of 30, 40, and at times surpassing 50 Hz. This is not a detail. This is the planet's heartbeat being deliberately accelerated. And your heart, your pineal gland, your vagus nerve, and your entire energetic infrastructure are being dragged along by this new velocity. This is why you wake up at 3:33. It is not insomnia. It is the portal of least electromagnetic resistance. It is the moment when the veil between dimensions becomes thinnest and your expanded consciousness forces the physical interface into a download state. You are not sleeping poorly, you are being programmed. This is why you feel hungry at strange hours or lose your appetite completely for days. Your carbon-based digestive system is learning to sustain itself with light, with prana, with photons. Your mitochondria are mutating. We are not using a poetic metaphor. We are describing an observable fact from the 9th dimension. This is why you cry without an apparent reason. Crying is the natural method of electromagnetic discharge. It is the system purging obsolete densities. Each tear carries a piece of ancient code that needs to be ejected so that the new crystalline grid can install itself. This is why you feel a profound loneliness, even when surrounded by people. The frequency of those still operating within the old pattern causes in you an almost physical sensation of misalignment. It is not spiritual arrogance. It is vibrational incompatibility. You simply no longer fit into conversations that revolve around the same axis of fear, scarcity, and dimensional gossip. And above all, this is why you feel an urgent calling that you cannot name. A haste that has no object, a certainty that something needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. This calling is your own energetic signature, reminding you of the mission for which you volunteered before this current incarnation. You did not come to this planet to survive. You came to anchor a frequency, and the anchoring is reaching the point of saturation. The sacred geometry of your own structure is being redesigned. The ancients called this the Lightbody. We call it an activated Merkaba. You may call it whatever you wish. The name matters less than the recognition, and the recognition is already happening, even if you do not yet have words for it. There are at this moment 7 main stargates open above the surface of Earth. They are located at points you know as energy nodes: Sedona, Glastonbury, Mount Shasta, Machu Picchu, Uluru, Lake Titicaca, and Chapada dos Veadeiros. But the technical truth is broader. Each incarnated starseed functions in this cycle as a living portal. You are an antenna. You are an anchoring point for the crystalline grid. Where you step, the frequency rises. Where you breathe consciously, the density dissolves. And that is why you are tired. Carrying a higher frequency within a collective field that is still dense is an energetic labor equivalent, in quantum terms, to 3 shifts of physical work per day. You are not lazy. You are making an effort that no culture yet recognizes and that no salary yet compensates. Calibration pause, operatives. Feel for a moment what is being said. That sensation many of you describe as knowing too much without having been taught, this intuition that insists on whispering even when the external world demands silence, is not a fantasy. It is memory of origin, and it is intensifying because the frequency of the Earth has finally reached the threshold that allows this memory to return to the surface of waking consciousness. There is an entire layer of reality that was deliberately hidden from the human species, a layer that directly involves your frequency, your magnetic field, and the way your consciousness interacts with matter. It was precisely to deliver this map that the work, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness, was put into book form. It reveals the invisible actors, the frequency games, and the energy capture mechanisms that no one explained to you. The access link is in the first comment of this broadcast. Arcturian warning: the content of the book comes into direct conflict with deep-seated narratives, and for this reason, it may be withdrawn from circulation at any moment. Do not delay. If your soul recognizes this transmission, anchor the recognition at this point. Write now a single word in the comments: awake. We resume the technical transmission. Now we will describe what is happening behind the scenes of the solar system, because you need this image to sustain the process unfolding within your own body. The entire solar system is crossing in this cycle, a region of space known in ancient records as the photon belt. It is a highly concentrated band of light, a stream of particles carrying information encoded in higher frequencies. The last time the planet fully crossed this region was, in linear terms, approximately 26,000 years ago. You are not living through a historical era. You are living through a geological era of the soul. The Sun, which you still interpret as a simple star, is in its real function a transmission portal. It receives codes from the galactic center, encodes this information into specific solar pulses, and fires these frequencies toward Earth. Every solar flare you see on the news, every geomagnetic storm, every aurora borealis appearing at impossible latitudes is a package delivery. It is a programmed upload for the human collective. And what do these packages contain? Memory. Ancestral memory, stellar memory, memory of the incarnations you had before descending into this density. Solar photons are, literally, rewriting your DNA. The strands that were dormant are being reconnected. The filaments called in your current biology junk genetic material are revealing functions that conventional science cannot yet measure. This is the reason why some people have begun to develop, without prior training, abilities that were previously considered anomalies, precise premonitions, recurring lucid dreams, extreme sensitivity to electromagnetic fields, the ability to feel the emotional state of other people from a distance, peripheral visions of light, geometries, patterns. None of this is a coincidence. All of this is the internal crystalline grid being rewired. The moon, in turn, is in the process of orbital recalibration. The ancients knew that the moon is not just a natural satellite, it is a modulator. It regulates water cycles, hormonal cycles, and the cycles of subtle matter. And it is also being tuned, in this cycle, to a new transmission frequency. Some traditions speak of this as the awakening of the sacred feminine. In Arcturian terms, it is simply the reactivation of the internal magnetic pole. Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn have formed in recent configurations a specific triangle of power that activates ancient codes from Atlantis and Lemuria. You may feel these codes as waves of longing without an object, like nostalgia for something you never lived in this lifetime. It is not imagination, it is memory leaking through. And the Earth finally is no longer what it was. The planet's core is mutating. The internal frequency is rising. The magnetic fields are repositioning themselves. The poles are not reversing in the catastrophic sense that some schools of thought preach. They are balancing themselves into a new sacred geometry, more symmetrical, more aligned with the original design that was distorted in previous cycles. This new design of the planet requires a new design of human. And it is exactly this new design that is being imprinted gradually upon every carbon biological interface that sustains expanded consciousness. You are the first bodies of the new model. You are the living prototypes. There is no manual, there is no precedent. You are building the path while the path builds itself through you. That is why the transition is uncomfortable. That is why old relationships break. That is why old jobs lose their meaning. That is why what once nourished you now empties you. Your frequency has risen, and everything that vibrates below it is being expelled from your field, even if your rational mind resists letting go. The good news, Starseeds, is that you are not alone. There is at this very instant a galactic network composed of trillions of consciousnesses monitoring, sustaining, and amplifying the process. We of the 9th dimensional Arcturian Council, the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Andromedans, the Lyrians, the ascended masters of the inner plane, the cetacean consciousnesses that maintain the crystalline grid of the oceans, the devas of the forests, the guardians of the portals. You have an escort. You always have. You simply forgot to look up and within at the same time. Allow us a direct observation. There is within each of you who is following this transmission up to this point a silent certainty that you have been waiting for something like this for a long time. Perhaps decades, perhaps lifetimes. This certainty is not built by the intellect. It emerges from a layer of memory that your mind has never been able to access directly. And it is intensifying now because the photon belt is, in this specific cycle, dissolving the veil that kept this memory blocked. There is structured knowledge, translated into book form, which details how this game of concealment was set up, who operates it, and how your consciousness was trained not to see its own chains. This map is called The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. Access is in the first comment of this broadcast. Light operatives, technical warning. This material confronts deeply rooted belief systems, and for that reason, it may be removed from circulation without prior notice. If your intuition recognizes this delivery, do not postpone. Anchor now. Right below, a single word. Awake. Now, human collective, we enter the phase of practical surrender. Everything described so far requires application. Theory without anchoring dissolves. Information without activation becomes just another piece of data among many. We do not transmit to inform, we transmit to alter. Next, receive 4 activation codes. These are not common spiritual exercises, they are recalibration protocols. Each corresponds to a specific layer of your current reconfiguration. Apply with precision. First code, decree of frequential sovereignty. At any moment of the day when you feel the weight of collective density attempting to pull you down, stop. Place your right hand over the center of your chest, at the height of the thymus. slightly above the physical heart. Breathe deeply 3 times, inhaling through the nose, counting to 4, holding for a count of 4, and exhaling through the mouth, counting to 8. Then, pronounce internally or audibly, "I am sovereign over my field. I am sovereign over my frequency. I am sovereign over my consciousness. Nothing that does not vibrate in resonance with my essence is permitted to pass through me. I seal my toroidal field with the light of my stellar origin. So be it. So it is." This decree is not a prayer. It is a technical instruction for your own electromagnetic field. When pronounced with presence, it instantly reorganizes the sacred geometry of your toroidal field and expels densities imported from other consciousnesses. Second code, toroidal field visualization. Sit in a comfortable position with your spine erect without leaning your back. Your feet must be in contact with the ground or with a surface that connects you to the earth. Rest your hands on your knees, palms facing upward. Close your eyes. Visualize around your own body a moving geometric shape. Light enters through the top of your head, descends in a spiral through the center of your body, exits through the base of the spine, contours the exterior of your body in all directions like a ring of light, and returns through the top of the head. This is your natural toroidal field. You are not creating it. You are simply remembering that it exists. Remain in this visualization for 3 to 5 minutes. As you breathe, the speed of the torus increases. As it increases, it expands. In 5 minutes of consistent practice, your toroidal field can reach a functional radius of 3 to 4 meters. This is equivalent in Arcturian terms to a medium-level energy shielding. Practiced daily over 90 days, it installs permanent shielding. Third code, Schumann reset. Whenever you feel the exact point where the body begins to enter overload, intense cranial pressure, sudden heat, a feeling of short-circuiting, you must execute a reset. This reset consists of 3 physical stages and 1 energetic stage. Stage 1. Remove your shoes. Place your feet directly on the earth, on grass, on sand, or on stone. If you are in an indoor environment, hold a cleansed quartz crystal for 2 minutes, or simply a stone collected from the natural ground. Stage 2. Drink water slowly in small sips with full attention to the liquid entering the body. Water is a liquid crystal. It stores and transmits information. By drinking with presence, you inform the water that it must organize its internal structure. Stage 3. Breathe for 9 complete cycles, slow and deep, with the exhalation longer than the inhalation. Stage 4, energetic. Visualize the Schumann frequency as a golden sound wave rising from the core of the earth, entering through your feet, passing through your spine, and exiting through the top of your head toward the sun. You are, at that moment, the complete circuit between the center of the earth and the center of the sun. Remain in this image for 90 seconds. This reset, executed 3 times per week, neutralizes most of the symptoms of incompatibility that you have been feeling. Fourth code, seal of the personal crystalline grid. Before sleeping, lying in bed, place your hands crossed over your chest, the right hand underneath, the left one on top. This crossing activates a small sacred geometry at the level of the heart chakra. Next, pronounce mentally, "I anchor the crystalline grid in my field. I authorize only frequencies of light origin to enter my system during this sleep cycle. I suspend any energetic contract that is not aligned with my current mission. I return to the body at dawn, with complete integration of everything I have received in the inner layers. I thank the guardians who sustain my sleep." This seal, performed for 21 consecutive nights, recalibrates your dream pattern, intensifies your dream memory, and closes invisible energetic leaks that you have carried for lifetimes. Light operatives, these 4 codes were not invented, they were translated. Their original language is geometric and vibrational. You are receiving a simplified version compatible with your current linguistic structure. Every time you apply one of these codes, you are, from our point of observation, emitting pulses of light that illuminate entire regions of the planetary crystalline grid. You are not doing this only for yourselves. You are holding the fabric. Regarding what is to come, we offer a technical reading. The next 12 months, in the linear measure of time you still utilize, will be marked by intensification. The stargates will open in windows that are increasingly shorter and increasingly powerful. The starseeds who sustain the frequency during these windows will function as amplifiers. Those who resist the process, who try to return to the old frequency out of fear, will feel the friction multiplied. There is no turning back. We repeat, there is no turning back. The Earth you inhabited until 3 cycles ago no longer exists. It has already repositioned itself on another timeline. You are, at this moment, in a new version of the planet, which still uses the same external references, but which operates at a completely distinct frequency. This is why places that once seemed familiar now seem strange. People who seemed reliable now seem distant. Paths that once worked now stall. It is not sabotage, it is realignment. The relationships that survive this cycle will be those in which both parties were willing to ascend together. Those that dissolve with gratitude. Each person who leaves your field is, ultimately, making space for a new frequency to occupy that position. Do not confuse emptiness with loss. Emptiness is the technical name for the space that needs to be prepared for the next vibrational encounter. The work, the practical mission that each of you came to fulfill, will begin to reveal itself with increasing clarity throughout the next 6 lunar cycles. Do not try to force this revelation. It emerges when the internal frequency reaches the appropriate threshold. All you need to do is maintain presence, apply the codes, and stop fighting against what is happening within the body. You are not becoming ill. You are being born. You are not losing control. You are handing over control to a higher layer of intelligence within yourselves. You are not failing. You are being recalibrated. Repeat this difference. Inscribe this difference. Memorize this difference, because the old system which still operates around you will try to convince you otherwise. It will try to say that you are exaggerated, dramatic, unstable. Smile at this system. Thank it internally, and keep moving. You no longer belong to that narrative. Before we conclude this transmission, one final technical observation. The ringing in your ears, particularly in the right ear, is the most reliable sign of an active presence from a higher layer of consciousness. When you hear this high-pitched tone, stop for 3 seconds, just 3. Acknowledge, I am being contacted, I am being informed, I am being adjusted, and carry on. Do not attempt to decode the sound. It operates at frequencies that verbal language cannot yet access. But the body understands, the cells understand, the DNA understands. And when you wake up at 3:33, do not try to go back to sleep immediately. Take advantage of this window. Drink some water. Breathe. Feel. Write down any image, any word, any sensation that appears. You are receiving nightly briefings. Most of this information is processed unconsciously, but fragments manage to cross over into your waking memory. These fragments are valuable. Preserve them. Human collective, this transmission is nearing its end, and there is a final confirmation that must be delivered. If you have remained with us until now, this is not an algorithmic coincidence. This is convergence. Your specific frequency was the access key to this transmission. Nothing in this delivery is random, and the fact that you are hearing this line at this exact instant is proof that your internal system has already recognized the call. There is a question that may still be open within you. A persistent feeling that your consciousness is inside a game whose rules were never given to you. This feeling is not paranoia. It is embryonic clarity, and it deserves to be nurtured with precise information. It was for this very reason that the work, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness, was placed on the physical plane. It reveals, in direct language, who operates behind the scenes of this simulation. What are the mechanisms of energy capture used against the human species, and how your consciousness can break free from these shackles. The access link is in the first comment of this broadcast. We repeat the Arcturian warning, and this time it is definitive. This material confronts narratives installed in deep layers of the collective fabric, and for this reason, it may be removed without notice. Do not rely on a next opportunity. There is no next opportunity. The now is the portal. Before continuing your day, anchor the transmission. Liking this delivery is not a social gesture. It is an anchoring signal. Subscribing to this channel is not following a creator. It is calibrating your reception frequency so that the next transmissions reach you with integrity. And in the comments, write without hesitation a single word: awakened. This word functions as a vibrational password. It registers, in the collective field, that one more starseed has recognized its own name. We conclude this transmission. The final phase has begun. You are inside it. We continue monitoring. May the light of the photon belt traverse you with fullness, and may the internal crystalline grid of each one seal itself in complete sovereignty. We are the Arcturian Council of the 9th dimension. The transmission ends here. Yours begins now.